All right, now it is 9 a.m. Good morning, and thank you for sticking around to Smart Means Business. My name is Jerome Paul Sonko. But first, our apologies for some technicalities that have happened, that occurred in the last few minutes of our discussion. And we've definitely worked upon those particular ones to continue with our discussion. I'm here and still with Mr. John Samba from Maritime Cargo, and discussing the Kenyan perspective. Now, this time around, trying to discuss the Kenyan elections and whether we need to worry or not. Well, it is pretty much obvious that most of the people in Uganda, the traders, are still skeptical and watching or having an eye on the Kenyan elections. Clearly, because they know and still remember, have fresh memories of the 2007 conflict. So for the traders who use that route of Kenya, that is the Northern Corridor. So the traders who use the Northern Corridor have a reason to worry about. But like I said, after the break, I want to discuss more and try to understand, is it a reason to worry? So, Mr. John Samba, is it into an election 9th of August? We all know African elections are always part and parcel with conflict.
Now, from our own experience here, if you look at how we prepare for elections, even in our own country, there's always a tension surrounding the election, simply because you don't know what will happen after. You know, you'll go and cast your votes and hope that whatever you cast will be what will be announced, but you don't know. So the uncertainty, of course, will cause worry. It's the same scenario for Kenya, and it affects the Ugandans as well, because they are the neighbors and we are the neighbors. We are business partners. It's like a community. We're in the East African community. So whatever happens in Kenya, we worry because it directly affects whatever happens in Uganda. Yes, it is a cause for worry, especially for the Ugandan traders and the common person as well.
Okay. Yeah. And yes, indeed, it's a worry for Ugandan traders, a worry for the common person. Reason being, what happens if you're actually living in residentials or rentals, when your neighbor has been robbed clean, you will worry about what will happen next door. Okay. So you always have to keep an ear and an eye to watch over and at least hear something from what is happening in your neighbor's lane. So it is the same situation with Kenya. But when you look at this, if you're to at least take us back, Kenya's been having elections and all that. The recent one wasn't that violent. How do you prepare in most cases in regards to managing the imports that are coming into the country? How do we manage such situations?
Okay, basing on what has been happening previously, you really don't have much to prepare for such situations, because most of the times business is risk. You know, you have to take a risk, you have to take a gamble. So because you don't know what will happen, or you can't foretell what will happen, you have to trust the process, because with turmoil or without turmoil, business still has to go on. So your best bet is having alternatives, and in this scenario, much as we trust that the process might go smoothly, you know, the election will pass and then we'll go back to business as usual, it leaves us with the lingering effects of what happened in 2007. So definitely you can't go all out and say we will trust the process, since it has been okay the previous times. Okay. Times change. It might have been good the previous time, and this time it is not good. So we have to take precaution. Yeah. So we have alternatives in that sense of the Central Corridor. We could still use the Central Corridor, but tell you what, I'll tell you how much the business people trust the Northern Corridor, or trust that the process will go right. Even up to date, containers or cargo that is still booked through the port of Mombasa. Okay. Even when we know that there is an election that is going to come, we still have cargo that is booked through the port of Mombasa. So that shows you how, I don't know if I'll call it trust, or how we have grown accustomed to the system going right. So we hope it will still go right even this time.
Okay, in the past few weeks of the campaigning period, the last lap of the campaigns in Kenya, for the traders who have actually been using the Northern Corridor, how has it been so far? Has security been tight, or is it a smooth running of business as usual?
I'll tell you, because it has been moving smoothly, this is how smooth it has been moving.
Okay.
We actually forgot Kenya had an election coming.
So it was business as usual?
Business as usual.
Okay.
The trucks are coming as they're supposed to come, no problem, no hindrances, no matter as regards security, everything is smooth, everything is okay. So we bank on that, and I don't know, anything can happen after the poll, you know, but now with the way that the things are moving, the cargo is moving, transiting through Mombasa to Kampala, even away from Kampala to the neighboring countries, it's still smooth.
Okay.
It's still smooth. So we've not registered any cases of insecurity or robberies along the way, or closures of any entry points. It's still as smooth as it was, business as usual. So we hope it will still be business as usual after the poll.
No, I should say there shouldn't be a worry after all, because when you look at different media outlets have been trying to go in to understand the traders, are they really worried about this election? Because you never know. You have to be very cautious about this election time. You have to at least have your cards ready. It's just like a bet. It's a 50-50. What happens if there is post-election violence? I don't know if I can take you back to 2007. If I told you you were in the sector, I would want to know what really happened. How was it? Were the taxes increased, or was it the dealers themselves who decided to increase the prices because of the tension that was there?
Even when we go back to 2007,
Okay.
Because of the shortage of the supply of the cargo, of the goods that we normally consume here,
Yes.
the rise in prices definitely comes from a shortage of supply.
Okay.
So definitely, it's not that the traders or the dealers wanted to hike the prices, but the conditions, the circumstances hiked the prices. They led them to hike the prices. Similar scenario, not far back, I think, was it the start of this year, when they closed the borders to the trucks. You saw what happened with the prices of the commodities, most especially the fuel prices, simply because they closed the border. Now what happens with logistics is when you close one point, you have closed the entire chain.
Okay.
So that means you have cut off the supply, and definitely you won't have whatever you wanted to have. It is going to definitely raise the prices.
Okay.
So even in 2007, same scenario happened. Because you cannot move your cargo from the ports, and yet you already booked it through the ports, there's going to be a shortage of where you're going to supply it. So definitely the prices will shoot.
Okay. And now let's also speak about the sector in general. Is there any new tax that has been introduced, or are we still fairly running through the same line in the last 2 years?
I wouldn't call it a tax.
Okay.
But on the side of taxes, we're still paying the same taxes.
Okay.
Same percentages. They might have increased for a few commodities, especially the ones that we intend to handle in import substitution, the ones we feel we can produce, and then we're importing. Those ones definitely will have to attract a higher tax, but it's still the same tax as has been paid before. The only new thing that has been introduced for the traders is marine insurance.
Okay. How about that one?
It's local insurance, so now they are mandated to pay local insurance for their cargo, especially in transit from the port of Mombasa into Kampala. They have been paying it, but they're paying it on the other side, on the import side from wherever they are coming to the port.
Okay.
So the inland was not covered for, and they were paying a tax. I don't know if it was a tax or it was a surcharge by URA for not having the insurance. So now that they've introduced the insurance upright, they pay the insurance and then they don't have to pay the surcharge for URA. So it's a win-win.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of insurance, how important is insurance in the sector?
In this sector.
Because if you mentioned that insurance is supposed to be paid by the traders,
Yes.
so how important is this particular insurance, and how do they even benefit? Because okay, insurance shouldn't be so beneficial, I know,
Yeah.
or profitable,
Yes.
but of what importance is it to the traders?
It is very important to the trader.
Okay.
They might not see it now because when someone comes and tells you you have to pay this so that you protect yourself,
Okay.
and then you ask them, what if I don't get the problem? Then what am I protecting? So in the event that anything happens to their cargo, because the policies that are being sold with different insurance companies, they at least the ones that have seen the policies that I've seen from the insurance companies, they cover you for almost everything, even the ones that are not caused by you, you're covered. So how does it help them? Before they would get problems with their cargo, cargo would be damaged, cargo would get lost, or cargo would be in any way disappears, and then they would have anywhere to run to. You can't report anybody because nobody is entirely responsible for your cargo apart from yourself. So it comes down to the trader now to ensure maximum security for their goods. In any eventuality, they are safe, because after you have paid the insurance, now you will claim for your insurance. Whether you did cause or not cause the problem, you will still have to be reimbursed for your goods.
Okay.
So it is very, very important that they have insurance for their goods.
Okay. And now let's also get back to the performance. Recovery mode, I should say. Ever since the issue of COVID testing at the border was abolished and all that, how has the sector recovered, and how quick is it recovering?
I would want to believe that we roll. I don't know how they call it. It's you roll with the flow.
Okay.
Sometimes you ride with hope. You go into something. It's like you waking up and say, I'm going to venture into this. It's a risk you're taking because you don't know what the day holds for you. So the recovery for the sector has been like that. We don't really envisage much.
Okay.
We don't see much in the future, but we are hopeful that with what is happening now, with the trend that we are seeing now, we are hoping that it's going to be a better state going forward.
Okay.
From what has been happening previously to what is happening now, we hope that what is coming, with all the uncertainty of elections and all that, we still hope that business is going to get better.
Okay.
It's getting better, and it's going to get much more better.
Okay, and with the anticipation of Kenyan elections, now let me take you back. With the anticipation of Kenyan elections, last year Tanzania, not last year but one, because last year it was just the other Samia Suluhu Hassan swearing in. The other year when Pombe Magufuli, the late, was actually having was in election time. For the people who are using the Central Corridor, I should say, were there any increment in charges at the border, or any costs that were increased in that way?
No.
Okay.
But I would want to commend the new president. After she came into power, and she agreed to sign an agreement with the Ugandan government. Both governments agreed. Okay. In the interest of increasing the interest in the Central Corridor from the Ugandan part, because you will understand that among the East African community countries, Uganda still has the highest number of imports. Okay. We talk in millions of cargo being handled, million tons.
That comes
into Uganda alone, and even not transit, but comes into Uganda, whether it's going away or staying here. We still hold the largest percentage of their goods. So for any any port, any country that has a port would want to have Uganda as their main client, because we have the biggest. Now, in the interest of trying to lure the biggest market in the region to their Port Dar es Salaam, President Salma, they decided that they would slash the charges that were along the corridor, because they realized that at every point, I'll call it every checkpoint along the Central Corridor, you would be charged the fee. So the Ugandan traders raised that, and then they realized it was derailing most of them to run to the northern corridor. So they slashed, I think, by more than 60% the fees that were being charged then. So it's cheaper now to pass through the central corridor. Only challenge now is it's still far. It's still a longer distance compared to the central corridor, but it is a very good alternative. We even have other alternatives in the form of the pipeline, the oil pipeline that is being constructed, that is passing through Tanzania, and a lot of other benefits that were introduced. So we hope that they can pick from those benefits, and then they'll have more traders passing through Tanzania than the central. The other option would be, I don't know how advanced or how developed our water system is, but the intention was that we develop our water transport so we could link Mwanza to Port Bell. So we could cut the distance at least by half using the water transport. I think they've done some work in that regard, and the vessels, I don't know if there are about 1 or 2 vessels that have been introduced on the Lake Victoria. So they can move the cargo from Mwanza to, it's a shorter distance moving from there to Mwanza, but it's longer to move from there to Mutukula. So while you can cut it from using the water, it's still more viable.
Let me get this right. With the Joint Permanent Commission that was signed recently between Uganda and Tanzania, and then you've mentioned now it is as well cheaper to use the central corridor compared to the northern. Is it in terms of...
It's not cheaper to use compared to. But I'm saying it's the fees are now lower. Compared to what they used to be. So, but it's still cheaper. I would say it's still cheaper to use the northern corridor because it's shorter. Even the charges that you would attract are different.
Even the strategic location.
Yes, even the strategic
location.
There's something about the northern corridor that is, I don't know, it has something that will attract you to it, even given the uncertainties. That's why you still have businessmen wanting to use the northern corridor, even when they know things could get worse. All right. Now, how long does it take? I've for a long time wanted to ask these questions. How long does it take for these goods to come to Uganda? For example, if a goods are coming by ship from China, then let's also have a look at goods that come from the United States, and then goods that may be coming in from Japan or other Asian countries. How long does it take by ship? Given the distances of the different countries, the most common that rely on to is China. Because it could be the farthest, not the farthest, but is the most common farthest distance that we go to. It takes you between 16 to 21 days.
So that's
China to Mombasa.
So that's around 2 to 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. If you don't have any eventualities or the shipping line transshipping the cargo, it takes you between 16 to 21 days. And then I would say USA would be the farthest. It could take you up to 2 months. Up to 2 months to move cargo from USA to Mombasa. On sea. Yes. It could be shorter, but I would give it at most 2 months.
All right. Now, once these goods reach the port, for example, Northern Corridor, Central Corridor, what really happens there? I've happened to realize URA's move with the vehicles that are being imported is they have to pay tax and clear off the taxes from the border, from the port rather. So, are the other goods like that?
No. The other goods, with the exception of a few of them, they classify the goods. So there are some classes of goods or some categories of goods that will require you to pay taxes right at the border. For example, if you're importing sugar, cooking oil, some chemicals they would require you to pay the taxes. Even oil,
Okay.
oil as in the fuel that we use, the oil, you have to pay the taxes before you move the products. So with the exception of a few of them, the rest you simply have to declare them at the port, then you move, transit them, and then they will verify them after you reach the destination, and then pay the taxes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are different because of the categories. Some of them pay at the port, while others you have to move them and then you can pay. You still have an option of paying the taxes before you move them, but they don't mandate you to pay. You can move them and then pay after they reach the destination.
All right, a quick one as well. Now, for agencies like Maritime, what is your role normally in such scenarios of importing, exporting? Then there's issues of clearance and forwarding. Where do you step in, and what is your role?
We as the consolidators, because we are consolidators, we come in for that trader that cannot, not only cannot afford a full container load, but we also handle the full container loads just if you have them. But we help that other trader that has probably 1 or 2 packages that they want to move from that side, or even up to 100. So we help them pull them together, find a container for them, load them, move them up to the point of destination here. So our role is, one, we bring you together, we book for you the modes of transport, we help you clear through the different channels, through the different points of transit, and then we also help you with clearing. You know, in case you need the clearing, we'll help you with the clearing. But we want to give first priority to the trader, because most of the times they will advise the trader that you find an agent. If you can't handle this yourself, you find an agent that can do it for you. So the agent
comes in as a middleman to help?
Yeah, to help. So what we do is we let the trader find their own. If they can't find their own, then they'll ask us to help them.
Step in.
We can still be their agents right through the procedure, you know, from moving to tax clearance and then handling them the goods.
All right.
We still do that.
Now, in the last 2 minutes, I'll give you to give us your parting shots to the viewers out there that have been watching our discussion.
Yes. To the viewers out there, especially to the businessmen, because they are in line with what I do, I don't want to assure them, I want to give them hope that we are in this together.
Okay.
Whatever happens, we're in this together. We'll move with them, we'll fight with them. We as Maritime, we are willing to help out the traders, our traders, because we know the ones that we have, we know the ones that are coming, and we want to assure them that no matter the circumstances, they will have their goods where they want them, or where they've always had them. They will come, we will find a way of getting them here, and that's on us.
Okay.
Yes, that's on us. So we pray along with them. We hope that the situation in Kenya will not be as bad as we anticipate it to be, and we pray that it goes on well.
All right, and thank you very much. That is Nsamba John from Maritime Cargo, giving us more from an insightful view of how the Kenyan elections in any way will impact Uganda traders, or traders who are actually using the northern corridor, that is Port Mombasa and Kenya. Kenya does decide on 9th of August, so the election time has got a number of East African Community member states watching closely about who will be the new leader. Will it be Raila Odinga, or will it be Deputy William Ruto in there? So it is something that we'll definitely closely watch and see how best we will go beyond and better with understanding the business perspective of that. And tell you what, your morning Kickstarter, your everyday Kickstarter, Smart Means Business, does take a break. When we do return, we discuss lots and lots of things. And like I told you, you cannot simply make this stuff up. We are Smart 24 TV driving business. Stick around. Good morning.